Good evening. It is 6:04 PM on Thursday, December 19th, and I'm going to call the Ware Ethics Committee meeting to order with a pledge of allegiance. So if you'll stand and join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, united, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. So bear with me for a moment. I'm trying to get some organization here. I have a lot of documents that we've made copies of to run through tonight. The agenda, I believe, will start with minutes. Carl, if you want to,
Yeah, I sent the minutes out, and for November 21st, have a motion to accept the minutes,
So moved.
I second.
okay? And then, any discussion? It was a pretty long, lengthy one, but I incorporated the one letter from Jackie Pratt. It was a couple pages, and then I also put in the memorandum from the town council that
Okay.
you read into the record.
Both of those attachments,
Both of the
yes.
stuff that you
Yes,
read into the record.
that
So
were
it
read
made
into the
it pretty
record.
lengthy, 7 pages,
Yes.
so.
I didn't see any need to amend those minutes, and so I think we can accept them as written. I did. I have a green light.
I have a green
I
light.
got a green light.
Okay. And Carl, if you could, if you don't mind handing those over to me, just I may need them later. You can,
Yeah.
okay. And then, so the next item on the agenda, I believe, is,
So do we approve the minutes?
yes, they were approved as written.
No, you
We
didn't have a vote.
We did the second.
Oh, sorry, I apologize. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? So the ayes have it. So we'll accept those minutes as written. And then I believe the next agenda item is, do you have I didn't print that out for myself, Carl. I'm going from memory, so is it,
Letters of interest
Yes,
for the
so-
community membership.
yes, so letters of interest. And so I came in on Friday, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4 envelopes here that I will open, and as I understand it, you have a letter that you received via email. Can you time and date
Yeah.
stamp the time and date that you received that letter?
Yeah, October 21st. Oh, wait, that's the wrong person. I gotta go right back to the right person. Let's see, back to the beginning. So on November 28th, I received an email from Christina Cardwell of River Road. Last name is Cardwell. And she was hoping to get more information on the Ethics Committee opening for the town of Ware. And we corresponded back and forth. I gave her information about the committee, the frequently asked questions, our implementation document, and told her roughly our commitment as far as meeting once a month on the third Thursday. And she responded back that she would like to be nominated or looked at as a member. She cannot make tonight's meeting because of previous engagement, but she can make the January 16th, 2025 meeting. So,
Okay, so is that the entire correspondence that,
Yeah.
did she say anything about what her background is, or how long she's lived in town, or any?
I didn't ask her how long she lived back in town, but if she was still interested, I gave her those 2 documents to look at. I told her the term expires in March of 2026, after our discussion about how we handle vacancies. And then I asked her if she wanted her name to put on the potential member roster. We're making our selections at this meeting today.
Okay.
And then she said, yes, I would like to be considered. What do you need from me? And if I need to be present on the 19th, unfortunately, He has a previous commitment and it's not available.
Okay.
And then, after I got that correspondence, I said, all I would need from you is a verification that you are a town resident. And then she gave me her, and I said, I don't need your address number, just what road you're on.
Okay.
And she gave me that River Road.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to open up the other envelopes here as they were received. So the first one I have is received December 11th, 2024.
Excuse me, are we finished with that agenda item, or?
No, we're going to
See
go,
if we have any other,
we're seeing if we have any other interest,
we could apply via mail or the
email or
email or the mail drop.
in our mailbox. So
And
I don't know if this is a complaint or if this is correspondence related to becoming a member of committee, so I'll read it into the record. So this was received and written, it was received December 11th, it was written December 10th. Attention, Town Aware Ethics Committee vacancy, 15 Flanders Memorial Road, Ware, New Hampshire, 03281. Dear Ethics Committee members, I'm writing to express my interest in serving on the Ethics Committee for the Town of Ware. With a strong commitment to promoting integrity and ensuring ethical standards in both personal and professional settings, I believe that my experience and values align well with the committee's mission. I am a lifelong resident of Ware. I have previously served on the town's Conservation Commission and served many, many years with a local snowmobile club. Professionally, I've spent the last 44 years of my life as a service manager and have experience with managing people and being able to listen to both sides equally. Throughout my career, I've developed a strong commitment to promote transparency, fairness, and accountability, and I am eager to contribute my time, skills, and ideas to support the important work of the Ethics Committee. I am confident that my background in a company leadership role, along with my previous volunteer work for the town and within the town, would allow me to make a positive and valuable contribution to the discussions and initiatives of the committee. I believe my analytical thinking, problem-solving, and attention to detail are vital roles in guiding ethical decision-making and addressing complex ethical issues within the town. I am enthusiastic for the opportunity to serve on the Ethics Committee. Thank you for considering my request. I would be happy to provide further information and to discuss my qualifications in greater detail. I can be reached via email at billbolton@mygsc.com and look forward to the possibly working together. I am available on Thursday, December 19th, if allowed the opportunity. Sincerely, William Bill Bolton. Okay, so that's one letter of interest. And then I'm going to open this second letter that's here, received December 13th, 2024. I believe our deadline, we deadlined it December 15 or 17?
The 15th,
It
the
wasn't-
Sunday.
Okay. Okay, this is also a letter of interest. Town Aware Ethics Committee. Letter of interest from Jack Dearborn, December 13th, 2024. My name is Jack Dearborn, and I'm at 148 Gold Road, Ware, New Hampshire. It would be my honor and privilege to serve in a vacancy position on the Town Aware Ethics Committee. I have lived all my 72 years in Ware, New Hampshire. I am a graduate from Ware High School, New Hampshire Technical Institute, and New Hampshire College. I feel strongly that a high level of ethics is necessary for Ware citizens to have trust and confidence in the Town of Ware's leadership, departments, and committees' actions and decisions. I've had the privilege of growing up in an ethical town and working in an ethical company for 36 years. I have had many opportunities at BAE Systems as an electrical engineer, systems engineer, program manager, hardware and software department manager, director of engineering, and general manager, company and corporate vice president positions. BAE Systems stress the importance of ethical behavior for the investors, employees, and customers to have trust and confidence in BAE Systems' business practices and decisions. To that end, BAE Systems institutes and maintains annual ethics training and testing for all employees. I have served on a company-level ethics committee with VP General Counsel and VP Human Resources. If selected, I will endeavor and strive to be an honest, valued team member, to discover and follow the facts, make fact-based decisions free of personal bias, and collaborate with members to arrive at a considered decision. I respectfully submit my name as a candidate for a vacancy appointment to the Ware Ethics Committee. I look forward to answering any questions that you may have. Thank you, Jack Dearborn. Okay, so that's the second one. Opening the third envelope. which appears to be a complaint. So I'm gonna
Later.
put that over here for now. And then I'm opening the fourth envelope, which also appears to be a complaint, so I will put that to the side for now. So in front of us, it appears that we have 3 letters of interest for our consideration, 1 via email and 2 in writing. So it appears we have 2 of the members who have identified interest in our audience tonight, and one of the options that we do have, we had advertised this position and asked anybody interested if they wanted to come in to be present for any potential question and answer. So at this point, I'd like to open it up to the rest of the committee on your thoughts on how to proceed.
You look as though you're ready to speak, so why
Well, I
don't
was
you?
gonna let you go first, Neil.
First, we don't have to do 2 tonight, we can do 1. Am I correct? There are 2 vacancies,
There are.
so we're not obligated to, there's no timeline to do anything, to do a particular thing. I'd like to see folks here before we make a decision, rather than doing it simply on paper.
Sure.
So, those candidates that are present, I think we should listen to them, and then we can make a decision. We could hold off until we've heard all of them, or we could find one acceptable and make a decision on that tonight.
What are your thoughts, Carl?
I wish I had queried, like, information from the online, the email candidate, but she could not attend
Sure.
because of her previous commitment.
Yep.
But showed interest. So, but, how long are you with us?
That's an unknown variable.
Because I don't want to go down to 2,
Going down to 2 would be problematic,
because
because
that
I
would put
don't,
Neil in charge.
I don't think we could act with 2.
No,
Yeah.
you
We
need,
need
for
3.
quorum, you need 3.
So
And
I
so,
think it's important that we choose at least 1 person this evening. Although, given my druthers, I'd like to have all 3 candidates, or however many there are, in the same room at the same time, so we can make a decision. But because of our situation, I think we need to make a decision on at least 1 candidate tonight.
when's our next meeting? January?
January 16th is our next meeting.
That's a quandary, for sure. So I think,
I'm with Neil on at least getting 1 new member today,
That's
just
it.
so we have 3 for a meeting next year, January.
Mm-hmm.
Just in case you have to withdraw if you sell your house.
Well, selling her house doesn't
Well,
require her
once she's no
withdrawing.
longer a resident.
Exactly.
yeah,
Right.
my recommendation on this would be, because it's, it's highly doubtful that by January 16th, I'm not still sitting in town. And I can make that commitment, that I'll be here at the January 16th meeting. And so I'll make that commitment that I'll be here at the January 16th.
And be a
meeting.
resident.
And be a resident.
Yeah, just close on the 17th.
Yeah, so, I mean, when I think about the timing, that would be a pretty quick turnaround. So I'm fairly certain, that nothing's gonna happen the next 2 weeks in terms of closing on a house because it's Christmas and New Year's. And that it likely wouldn't happen within that first 2 weeks of January. So I feel certain that I could be here. And the reason I say that is because I think that, from the perspective of being able to do this in a manner where all 3 people have the opportunity to be vetted by this committee, we have 2 individuals sitting here tonight. my thought would be to have those conversations tonight, not make a decision until the January 16th meeting, and then make a decision at the January 16th meeting on all three candidates.
Okay.
That would be my,
Based on your assurance, I
Yeah.
have no problem
yeah,
with that.
that would be my recommendation, because we do have two individuals here tonight, and then that way we could make our decision at once,
Right.
rather than, staggering it. So,
Let's start with.
yeah,
Mr.
so
Bolton.
let's do it as we received. So we received the first letter from Ms. Caldwell. Am I saying that right?
Yeah,
She's not here, so we'll invite her to
the January 16th.
the January 16th meeting, and that will, ask her to come prepared to, have a discussion about her experience,
I'll also reply to her to get
Yep.
information that she can write up about her
absolutely,
background. and stuff.
absolutely. And then the second one we received is from Mr. Bolton. So if, Mr. Bolton, if you want to join us at the podium, good evening. Got to push the button.
Yeah, make sure the mic's on.
Let it go green.
So first of all, thank you for your letter of interest. We appreciate, we know that committing to be on a town committee is always a time commitment, and so I appreciate your interest. I wanted to open it up to you, if you want to just give us a little bit of background about what, I know you wrote in here what
Yeah,
your qualifications were, but if you could tell us a little
yeah.
bit about why you're interested, I'd appreciate it.
Sure. I'm a native of Ware, 64 years old. I've lived here my entire life. I've worked in Ware my entire life up until about 4 years ago. I have been in the service industry. I've managed hundreds of different people. As a service manager and dealing with retail people, you certainly have to keep a very open mind on whatever issue you're having, and be as fair and honest and ethical as you can be with that person, people, whatever it might be. I have quite a family in Ware, grandchildren and sons, and my older boy lives in Ware, 2 granddaughters, and I'd like to keep Ware as our residence until we're no longer here to enjoy life. And but I've also worked in the service industry in the aggregate business, and serviced an awful lot of folks. I will say I do know a lot of people in Ware. You can't live here your entire life and not know people. I, of course, went to school here. My children have gone to school here. My grandkids are going to school here. And I did serve with the Ware Conservation for several years, and I enjoyed it very much. I left there because there were 3 people, including one being myself and 2 others from the Snowmobile Club on that committee, and I didn't feel that was proper. So I stepped down so that it wasn't a one-sided unethical thing to do. I've volunteered for the Snowmobile Club. I've since the 80s, and I think I can be an asset and intend to be an asset with Ware the rest of my life. I'll be retiring in another year or so, and perhaps offering my services in other places as well.
Thank you. Go ahead.
You know that there's a complaint filed against your wife,
I do.
and obviously you'll recuse yourself in that case. But I'm concerned about how you're going to deal with pillow talk. my wife and I have both been involved in various activities in town, and there's always chit-chat. And Naomi is in a very unique position, forgetting about the complaint against her, I mean, just generally speaking. How are you going to deal with it?
Two ways, Neil. I have no agenda coming into this. And what, right is right and wrong is wrong. As far as Naomi, you folks may have to correct me, but I'm of the belief that this committee is never going to hear anything about any employee in the town. It is not your place, and that's my belief. Now, I could be incorrect, but if that is true, then there'll never be a conflict, because,
Maybe I didn't make it clear. Naomi is privy to all sorts of information
yeah, and I,
that she might pass on to you, Pillow Talk, but we wouldn't have, the rest of the committee wouldn't have. And my concern would be that that information could influence you, and the rest of us would not have that. So that's the concern that I have. I'm not concerned about
yep.
the particular
No,
case.
that's fine. Neil, I would work on the facts that everybody has. And I'm a very honest person. I would not use information that wasn't brought to the attention of everybody on the committee, either in my opinion or vote or whatnot.
Thank you.
And
So you've had a chance to read a little bit about the Ethics Committee or gone on the website to our thing. And we're still learning how to walk.
yes, yep,
We haven't gone through a full
yep.
hearing or process on our first two complaints. And so you'd be coming in on a running start, per se. And are you ready for that kind of thing? I mean,
If-
I came
yeah.
in this year, and they were still working on their documents and processes, and then now we finally have complaints. But you're gonna come right in full speed.
One of my beliefs is I would recluse myself before I would make a decision, an uninformed decision. And if I didn't become part of it because I wasn't educated enough on the background of it, I'm certainly not going to follow the leader or make a decision, an uninformed decision. And the first thing that I'd have to do is hit the ground running and get caught up on everything that you folks have done till now. And then you're going to have to bring the next two people up to speed, because no one is privy to what's going on, as far as complaints and whatnot. My expertise is putting out fires and learning how to think on my feet. And when I do make a decision, it will be an informed decision.
Thank you. I'm just letting you know that you would be joining us, and we're building up a little bit of a log jam. And
If you've ever walked into a business with employees that have been there decades and then been told that here's your new boss, I've been through that and gotten the trust and the respect from those people that have been there many, many more years than I. And I'm sure that I can do that and will do that if I'm on this committee.
thank you.
Yep.
Neil, did you have anything else? Bill, the only question I have for you in terms of this is, what do you imagine would be the most difficult aspect of being on this committee?
I guess I honestly haven't thought of that. I don't I don't know that this committee has a huge amount of horsepower anyway. My honest thoughts are that the best results that this committee could give is to perhaps cure an issue and not necessarily make any type of, I don't believe you have the authority to make any type of change in employment or volunteerism or anything like that, but I really think that it really is kind of a watchdog more than anything, group, or committee. I don't necessarily have any friends. I have one family member on a committee, which is my oldest brother, and I think he's so part-time that it'll never be much of an issue. And if it was an issue, then I would certainly step down for that. But other than that, I think you just work off actual facts, and no matter who it is, if something has been done wrong, it's the way it is. And after working with literally hundreds and hundreds of different people through the years, sometimes you had to let them go. Sometimes you did your very best to keep happy and get good production. And I think I'm a very good motivator. I'm not a very good speaker.
Oh, I think you're pretty articulate. Does the committee have anything else? Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Mr. Bolton, I appreciate it. Okay. All right. Candidate number 3. Mr. Dearborn, would you please come up? Thank you.
Thank you. First, I want to thank the committee for providing the opportunity, and congratulate you on your win on the election and serving for the town. Myself, I've been here 72 years. My family has been in town for 8 generations. I came in the late 1700s, and we're in Ware, and most of them have been part of the select board or Granges or whatever else there is in town back then that was part of the community. Myself, I went to school here 12 years, graduated 17 in our class, a small class, but that's the way it was back then. I went to New Hampshire Tech in Concord, graduated associates, and then I went to work at BA Systems. I worked as a technician leading to a position of an engineer. And during that time as an engineer, I was able to go to New Hampshire College and get a bachelor's degree. From that point on, I worked as a digital design engineer and integrating large systems, my designs plus others. And then I moved up to a systems engineer role, which is basically taking the multidisciplines, be it digital, it could be digital, analog, for hardware, mechanical design and drafting, software, all the support functions. And you take basically every contract we get at BA Systems or any defense contractor, there's a specification attached to a contract. Specification says what it is needs to be built. System engineer's job takes and basically breaks that into the constituent disciplines, helps to write the specifications, flows the work down, and you assemble a team. I had as many as 80 people, roughly half and half, software and systems, software and hardware engineers working for me. I then went up through the organization in the engineering management department head. I had 800 engineers working for me of all disciplines, and then I finally moved up to director of engineering, and I took over the rest of the engineering. And then I moved up to vice president, general manager, running today would probably be a $2 billion business, and basically all aspects of that business. 1,200 to 1,300 people in a single building, but we also had other sites. Then I moved up through the company up to company vice president, and up to corporate vice president. And at that point, when I was at company, I was able to, they asked me to serve on the ethics committee, which was basically chaired by general counsel, supported by the HR vice president and myself. As far as town's involvement, I think my first town involvement was on the transfer station and recycling. Then I moved into various, I think I served on all the finance committees in the town for a number of years. I also served on the zoning board of adjustments for 36 years. I am on some charitable corporations, nonprofits, and one being the Library Foundation, charter member for that. Another one being the Southware Hillside Cemetery, president on that. And the Tech, my alma mater, I'm on the president's board for determining curriculum and such as that. So as far as my business, also I have held all through my career security clearances for the U.S. government. I just want to emphasize the biggest thing we have, BAE Systems or any Department of Defense contractor, almost every dollar we get for revenues and every product we sell is to the government. And one of the things we have to make sure, and this is something that's drilled in our head, is that we cannot be seen as the appearance of impropriety, whether it's contractual or whatever it is. And that's why we took such an aggressive position on ethics and compliance of ethics. And most of the people, everybody there has to have at least 5 modules every year. They get refreshed every year. They're probably 15 minutes on the computer. You take them, you got to pass the test at the end. Could be for violence in the workplace, sexual harassment, drugs and alcohol, pornography, all these type of things. And then as you go up through the organization, you have more responsibility. You have to take additional ethics modules. So I see this as an opportunity for me to serve the town of Ware again, and I would put my energies as I had in my career and my past work with the town and current work with nonprofits to help advance the organization.
Mr. Kirk, you have anything?
No, I've known Jack for many years and seen him in his various capacities in the town, not BAE, but no, I have no questions.
As far as your role in the ethics committee in your company business, were you a chairman or a member?
No, the general counsel chaired it. And basically, most of the lower level stuff, like somebody shows up drunk or on drugs or whatever, time card violations, those are pretty binary. You got the facts, you know. Somebody shows up drunk, you perceive they're drunk, supervisor will say, would you like to go take a ride in the Nashua or Merrimack police car to the hospital and get a blood drawing? If they say yes, they go out and the test determines the result. If they say no, they're fired. We can't afford to have that.
And you said that you had training.
Oh, as far as the training, yeah, there's like, used to be paper, but then they went computer-based. Like, for instance, they would talk about sexual harassment, and they would give examples on a video. Then you have to take a quiz afterwards, and if you don't pass the quiz, you got to take it again. And then it could be something as truth and negotiation, TINA, which is when we're dealing with the government or dealing with our customers, there's certain things we can and can't do. We have to be upfront and assuring them that we're telling the correct stuff and our data is correct. We're not trying to hide anything. There's a whole modules for those, for various people that deals with the customer. And being a corporate officer, that has another set of requirements when I get up to that level. So there was these modules that were taken, assembled based on some of the problems we had, plus best practices. And then whoever, based on their labor grade and their type of discipline they're in, you get certain modules. I had 19 modules at the end because I had to cover everything. So, but the basic employee would get 5. Did I answer your question?
One of our roles in the ethics committee is to educate or give training or some kind of presentation to the town workers and committee members and stuff like that. So that's another side park. I was trying to see if you happen to have
Well,
a hand in the
intellectual-
training of.
the intellectual property is owned by BAE Systems. I don't have a copy. But I think it's pretty, the question is you determine what behavior you want to promote and what behavior you find out is something you don't want to promote. And the real question is awareness. And the reason BAE Systems gives this training, like I said before, if somebody causes an issue with ethics, we have a record of them being trained, being tested. So should we find that we need to terminate somebody for behavior, quite often it could be a mistake, an honest mistake that they didn't realize they made. That's part of what we determine. We find we have the hard evidence and they didn't care. That will be a basis for us to separate them from the organization or discipline them heavily. We need to have the backup information because we just can't go off and make an arbitrary decision.
In our role on the ethics committee, we're advisory. We have no
Correct.
authority, we'll give opinions to whoever.
Well, the same thing when I was at the company level, it was allowing us to take a separate look on issues that we would consider binary, and you can't cover everything. And one time we determined that we needed additional prescription in our material to cover it. And the first thing we do is make sure, is it a honest mistake? People make errors. Or is it a deliberate act? And then you treat that separately, of course, and maybe make a change to the education.
Thank you.
Mr. Deaver, I'm just going to ask you the same question I asked Mr. Bolton, is what do you see as the most difficult or challenging aspect of being a member of this committee?
Fitting in, I guess, trying to join the team. I mean, that's everything I've ever dealt with at a BAE Systems or any team I've been on is becoming a valued member to contribute. And I don't have to be in charge to be influential. I think that's usually the, being installed there and everybody get to know everybody else's personalities and how they operate.
Well, I want to thank you both for coming in tonight.
You're welcome.
And invite you, as we discussed, the committee has decided that we will do all 3 at once, and so we will move decision-making to the meeting January 16th, if I have that date correct. And I'll invite you back. If you can both attend on January 16th, that's wonderful. We'll be able to move forward with that third candidate in terms of having a conversation. If that candidate doesn't attend that meeting, we'll move forward with decision-making on the 16th either way. But again, I wanted to thank you both for your interest and your time and coming in tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy holidays.
Thank you. Okay. And we'll suspend all discussion on any candidate until January 16th. Okay. I believe the next agenda item is correspondence,
Next
correct?
item is correspondence.
Okay, and we have quite a bit. So, trying to figure out how best to do this. We have several complaints in front of us. And so I have, by my count, just trying to do the time and date stamp. I have two that were from 12/15. I have one from 10/9 that I believe I already read into the record at our last meeting. I have another one from I believe 10/1 that I read into we received at the last meeting. We did not read into the record
The complaint.
the complaint. And so I have those two. And then I have one from 11/23. Do you have all the same ones in front of you?
The ones that I have are 20241 and 20242.
Yeah, those are original.
Those are original.
First twos, yeah.
Yeah,
I have a complaint from Jackie Pratt dated 10/11/24. Or maybe it's 10/1.
10/1.
10/1. And that is, I have two from her of the same, no, the other one's the 9th?
10/9.
Yes.
And 10/9 was read into,
I don't know if 10/9 was read into.
can you, let me find the minutes
Don't-
from last meeting.
I also have one from 11/23,
Yes,
12/15,
Yep.
and that's it.
And then she has two more that she got in the mailbox.
Today.
Correct.
I don't have copies of those.
She just opened those envelopes. So would you like to start with the 10/1 one, and we'll read it in and assign it a number?
Well,
we have to determine whether or not, there's a couple of issues here. One of which is that one of these complaints, which is a complaint filed against me, we don't have quorum to be able to make any movement on because I have to recuse myself.
Understood.
So that complaint has to wait until we have quorum in this board, not including myself.
Correct.
And so that one can't even, we can't make any movement on it whatsoever until we have quorum, when I'm pulled out of the ability to make any decision. The other, and that's a complaint on myself from 10/9. So I'm going to put that here. The other complaint from 10/1 that we have not yet read into the record I think we have to determine a couple things. One, if it meets the standard. Two, if we are the correct body to, meets our litmus test, if we're the correct body to hear it. If there were attempts to resolve at the low, all of our information. The one received on 11/23, which is again, against every member of this committee. This committee can't, there will be no way to have quorum on it. There will be no way to be able to resolve it at this committee. And I think in terms of dispositioning, and I'm open for discussion on this, in terms of dispositioning when it's against the entire committee, I would think it would have to go to another party. And because of the type of body that we are, and that it would not be the Board of Selectmen, it would probably be either the Secretary of State's office or the Attorney General's office in terms of filing a complaint, that it wouldn't sit within the town. But I'm
Will the-
open for discussion on that.
I agree that that complaint has to be rejected for the reasons that you've said. I'm concerned, however, that we need to start taking action on these. We can't, justice delayed is justice denied.
Yes.
We have some claim, 20241 and 20242 that we need to deal with.
That we need to move forward with.
Right, even
Yes.
before we deal with these others.
Yes, agreed. But we're at, and I agree with you, Neil. I'm just looking at my agenda in terms of correspondence and trying to keep it neatly in that box. In old business, my thought is to address the scheduling on the pre-hearing conference for the complaint that we've been sitting with, because we do have quorum for that, to be able to move at least scheduling on that forward.
So are we going to talk about that now, or are you still on
Let's
correspondence?
stay in correspondence, because it'll help me keep myself in check. So I think, I'm just rolling through, there's a huge body of paperwork here. I think for ease of disposition, which is what I'm attempting to do in terms of this correspondence, the complaint from 11/23/2024, I want to talk about, that complaint can't be heard at this body.
Can't be heard by us.
And so, I think what we can do is send correspondence back to the complainant saying this isn't the appropriate place to send this complaint. It would be to address it.
I don't know that there is a place to address it, but I think we need to write and say that the committee cannot consider this complaint because each member of the committee would have to recuse itself, in which case there is no quorum.
Yes.
And
Leave
leave it at that.
Okay. Did you catch that sentence, Carl?
Oh, I'm gonna,
You'll rewind it? Okay, so for the purposes of minute taking, the complaint received dated 11/23/2024. You'll respond, I guess you want to make that motion, Neil?
Yes, I move that is the word reject?
I guess, yeah.
I move that we reject may I mention names?
Yes.
I move that we reject the complaint from Jackie Pratt of Winter Road dated 11/23/24 against Eileen Meany, Neil Kirk, and Carl Hallstrom, because each of those individuals would have to recuse him or herself from the matter, and in the absence of all of the members of the committee, there would be no majority of the committee in a position to take action on the complaint.
I second that motion.
any comment?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. And so, Carl, you'll make that
I'll send the
correspondence? Okay,
correspondence.
all right. Okay, so then I'm gonna go back to,
You still have one more, 12:15?
well, I wanted to step back to,
Okay.
there was another one, which was,
12-9.
There's no 12:9, there's
That was
a
against you.
10:1 and 10:9.
well, 12-9 against me will have to
Sorry,
be.
it's 10-9.
10-9 against me will have to be tabled until post-January 16th, because we don't have quorum without a
We need a third member.
three-member committee. So,
May I make a motion? Move that we place the complaint from Jackie Pratt against Eileen Meany dated
10:9.
October 9th, 2024, on the table until such time as the committee will have a quorum without the presence of Ms. Meany.
So table to the next meeting,
Well.
Next available meeting?
Next available meeting, but if we don't have a quorum at that time, for whatever reason, we can't consider it then, so it's the next meeting at which we have a quorum.
And I can't vote on this,
Correct.
so it's
You're
sort of
You're
abstaining.
It'll be
Yep.
two,
That's fine.
well, okay, so, motion is to, table the, complaint from Jackie Pratt, Winter Road, dated 10/9/2024, against, Eileen. And
Until
we want
such-
to- we wanna table it until we
Until
can
such
have
time
a
as the committee
quorum.
has a quorum without the
that we can act
presence of
upon it.
Ms. Meany.
Okay? I second.
You can,
All those in favor?
aye,
Aye.
And I'm abstaining.
Okay.
Okay. So we've got two dispositioned. I'm gonna skip 10-1 and go to, we'll come back to it, but I wanna go to, I have a series from 12-15.
You had 12/15, the one I gave you a copy, and then you got two letters.
I think one is a copy. I have three here, but I think one's a copy. Yes, okay, so I have two.
I only have 12:15, is there something else?
She got,
I have two for 12-15.
but it was in the mail that we just opened.
Oh, it's not something we
Right,
have.
there's nothing I had to give you
Okay.
a copy, we just received it.
I've just received these, and I can, if you'd like, I can go we can take a quick tactical pause while I go make two copies of this so that everybody can look
Okay.
at it. Or actually, my colleague, thank you.
You need to send me
Do you mind?
separately.
2 weeks.
Okay,
Because I'm not getting any.
I'll send you insurance complaint, yeah.
Do you have my email?
Yes, I sent you something else to your email the other day, and you said thank,
Okay,
you said thank you.
okay, then, fine, thank you.
So I'll make sure you get
Good,
all the complaints
whatever. Yeah.
to your other email. Let's see, 2024-01. Okay. Thank you.
Carl, can I give you these are the letters of interest, can I give them to you so that we can keep it all
Then I'll,
together? And that envelope?
This one too?
No, that one goes with these two. Thank you.
I'll do the minutes from them speaking, but do you want the letters put into the record too? Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Okay, here's one set. I think. Neil, this copy for you, of both, and Carl, here's a copy for you of both. All right, I'm going to read them into the record, and then we can discuss. Okay? Do you
We have two dated the same
We have
date.
two dated the same date.
Right, but, the one copy that we had earlier, it was 12/15, one for, fairness 1 and 2, honesty 1. You got a mailed copy of the same.
I did have a mailed copy of the same complaint. And then there's a second.
Then there's a second one
Complaint.
that we did not, I did not.
Okay, I'm gonna start by reading in the complaint, okay, into the record, so. This is a Form ECD1 Ethics Code violation complaint received or dated 12/15/2024.
Are we first, reviewing it to see if it can go, or are you gonna read it out?
I'm gonna read,
Before you do that, should we give this a number? We have EC1, EC2, so that we're referring to the same thing at all times.
Sure.
And there's no confusion.
good enough.
And the fact
But I
that we're
thought we were
giving
only
it-
giving them a number, if they
accepted.
got accepted. That was my understanding of the process, that we weren't numbering every complaint, we were only numbering the complaints that were accepted.
So then we're going to have a file that consists of many pages of numbered documents, and then a separate file for those that aren't numbered,
The only ones that we would have,
are those that we find don't meet the criteria. For example, we just determined that the complaint dated 10/9, we tabled that. Okay?
and when you have quorum,
So when we come back to it, it's going to be the complaint dated 10/9, et cetera? I don't know.
no, I hear you, I hear what you're saying. Carl, you have any thoughts on this?
I think, well, I hope, I would rather see us number everything that comes in a chronological order.
Okay,
And whether or not the complaint proceeds or is denied or,
sure,
shut down or tabled, we can keep that on an Excel spreadsheet on the status of that.
okay, no, that makes sense, so,
That way, we just do them as they come in.
Mm-hmm.
If they're accepted, rejected, or tabled, we can put that in the spreadsheet,
okay,
see a status on it. Pre-hearing is scheduled, we can just do a spreadsheet that we can look at.
no, and I agree, we hadn't done it to that point, but I'm open to it. Do we need to make a motion on this for procedure, or are we just gonna move forward with that? So I'm gonna go back to the two that I had, dispositioned, and start, in terms of chronology. I have the one, from 10/1 that we have not yet discussed. If we want to give that one a number, what would
This is the one
be?
against Eileen Meany?
No, the
Ma-
one from
manual.
10/1,
10-1,
10/1. So let's give that one a number.
that'd be 2024-3.
Okay.
One, yes, 2024-3.
Okay. And then the next one, which is 10/9,
10-9,
which we voted to table, would be 2024-4.
-4.
Okay. Then 11/23, dated 11/23, which we're dispositioning back to the complainant. That's 2024-5.
Yes.
Okay. And then one of the 12/15 ones is 2024-6.
Okay, and, well, let's do the one that says fairness 1 and 2, honesty 1.
No, wait, there's
Huh?
Bruce Fillmore Planning Board and Bruce Fillmore Bruce.
Okay.
So which one is
Well,
5?
they're both planning board.
Yes, but one doesn't have the word planning board in the complaint.
I did the, one that says planning board,
As 5,
as 6.
as 6,
As 6?
Yep.
and the other one is 5?
Is gonna be 7. Because I skipped, no, yeah, 5
Right,
was the
right.
rejected one. so,
1123
yep, we're
is
good.
5.
Okay. So I'm getting ready to look at 2024-6.
Okay.
I'm gonna read this into the record.
I'm sorry. 11, let's go over these again because I'm somewhat confused. I have 1, 2. 3 is Jackie Pratt, 10-1.
Yep.
4 is Jackie Pratt, 12-15.
No. 4 is Jackie Pratt, 10-9.
10-9 is 4.
Yep.
Okay.
5 is Jackie Pratt, 11-23.
And for some reason, I don't have that, and I thought I just did.
You should have it, because
Oh, yes, I do.
You do.
Sorry, it's hidden
Yep.
here. What's the number of that?
5.
That's 5.
I think I'm gonna need a 3-ring binder.
And
Okay,
then
what's 6?
6 is,
12-15 Bruce,
yes,
that's 6. And 7 is 12-15 Planning Board. Bruce Fillmore dash.
no, I
planning.
have this.
Yeah. 6 is planning board. And 7 is just Bruce.
Got it, thank you.
Okay. All right, with that, they're all numbered. And are we ready for me to proceed to read this one in?
Yes.
Okay. All right, Form ECD 1, also known as 2024-6, Ethics Code Violation Complaint. Your name, Jackie Pratt, address 51 Winter Road, telephone
We don't need-
and email address I'm going to skip over. Person against your filing this complaint, Bruce Fillmore, Planning Board. Town offers a position this person holds, Planning Board. Applicable provisions of Ethics Code, responsibility number 1 and number 4, and fairness number 1. Please describe the specific conduct that is alleged to be a violation of the Ware Ethics Code. Be as specific as possible, include dates, times, places, and actions, and a list of any witnesses and/or supporting documentation and/or evidence. If necessary, please attach additional pages. See attached. So I'm about to read a letter that was attached to this, which I'm also numbering to be an addendum to 2024-6. 12/15/2024, Ware Ethics Committee members. Mr. Fillmore is using his position as a member of the Ware, New Hampshire Planning Board to influence zoning changes that directly provide relief to Ware residents that use the services of Mr. Fillmore's personal business, rather than a larger cross-section of the town. There were proposed changes to the town ordinance coordinated by Mr. Fillmore to allow for a detached ADU made at the planning board meetings and public hearing in early 2023, which did not make it to the warrant article for that year. There was no attempt to propose this change for the 2024 warrant. In the planning board meeting on 11/14/2024, there was discussion to bring this proposal to town warrant for 2025, and Mr. Fillmore explained that he sees this need every day because of what he does. Coincidentally, in the 12/3/2024 Ware ZBA meeting, case number 22-2024 was directly related to a customer of Mr. Fillmore, where the applicant makes many statements alluding to the notion that the town approval of a detached ADU is likely to happen very soon. Signed, Jackie Pratt, 12/15/2024. Please describe what actions you've taken to resolve this situation within Ware Town government before bringing it to the Ethics Committee. These might include, but are not limited to, bringing the matter of the complaint to the attention of the individuals involved, bringing the matter of the complaint formally before the board or committee involved. If you're a town employee, bringing the matter of the complaint to the attention of your supervisor. I did address the planning in January 12th, 2023, see YouTube. Minutes do not exist. I'm sorry, hang on a second. I did address the planning in January 12th, 2023, see YouTube. Minutes do not exist, are in violation currently. They did say they didn't know why they were pushing it, so they dropped it, but they tried, thank you, to reintroduce it this year, see attached. I believe that the person listed above has violated the Ware Ethics Code and requests the Ethics Committee conduct an investigation of this matter. I hereby certify the facts set forth above are true and correct to the best of my knowledge and belief. I have read the Ware Ethics Code. I believe that this matter is a fair subject of inquiry for the Ethics Committee. I will cooperate with the Ethics Committee in its investigation of this matter and will appear at a hearing on this complaint if requested to do so. And I have exhausted all of the avenues to resolve this situation that are available within Ware Town government. Dated 12/15/2024, signed by Jackie Pratt. Okay, do we have a copy, Carl? I don't know if you have one in front of you of the, I keep referring to it as our litmus test, but it's the test that we use to determine if whether or not this is a complaint that we can accept at this committee.
I did print out all our documents.
I had a feeling you would. I was hoping.
I just gotta, okay, EC1, EC2.
Is this what you're looking for?
Yes, I believe.
You got it?
Yeah, so it's the process flow. So internal process, chair designee will pick up all correspondence. Next, we'll do that. I did that. This is a complaint. We're doing it in public. Process steps, so this is not town personnel related, so we do it in public session, which we're doing. Okay, following criteria. Does this complaint fall within the jurisdiction of the Town of Ware Ethics Committee? If yes, what is the specific area of ethics found within the Ware Code of Ethics that the complainant alleges has been violated? So Ms. Pratt identified that she believes responsibility 1 and 4 and fairness 1 are the areas that she sees a violation. When did this alleged violation occur? We looked to what our time frame was. This is within the time frame, because we said we wouldn't go back into ancient history, but if it had happened, I think it was the last year that we talked about. What steps has the complainant already taken to address the complaint? Have they availed themselves of all possible avenues of remedy prior to filing a formal complaint?
I think the answer is yes. She raised the issue initially and then brought it up again.
Does
I don't
anyone know what
more-
ADU means?
Sorry?
What, she used an acronym, she used ADU. Do you know what,
It's it's a dwelling unit. Bruce, what is it?
Accessory dwelling unit.
Accessory
okay,
dwelling unit.
thank you, I just didn't know what it meant, and I'm making a note on this for myself. Accessory,
Right. Currently, an accessory dwelling unit is physically in the home. The proposal is to allow an accessory dwelling unit to be built physically separated from the home on the same lot. So if you
Okay.
had a 2-acre lot with a 3-bedroom home in it, you could build a second accessory unit not to exceed certain dimensions
Okay.
on the same property.
Okay. All right. All right, so the question that we're asking is, did the complainant already take steps to address the complaint? Have they availed themselves of all possible avenues of remedy prior to filing a formal complaint? Neil believes they had, based on attempting,
What she did in 2023,
yeah,
let's see if I've got the right one, this is planning board, yes. And I guess there's really nothing, or I can't see what else could have been done.
sure.
And so the question is whether, so from my point of view, we accept this. Whether or not it's valid is a different issue.
sure.
But I think she's met the criteria for the board to consider it.
Okay. Carl?
No comment. I don't know enough about zone plan.
No, we're not talking about the
Oh, as
content, we're
far as-
talking about
oh,
our process.
Okay, our process.
Yeah, do you feel that this has met the threshold for us to accept the complaint?
There's no intent.
So remember, she's a resident of our town. It's within the time frame listed. Has she made every attempt to remedy this prior to coming to the Ethics Committee? And is this a valid, something that we would look at? That's our threshold for accepting a complaint.
I see attempts made.
I'll entertain a motion to accept this complaint.
So moved?
Okay, I second. All those in favor of accepting complaint 2024-6, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so this is, complaints accepted and move forward. All right. Now moving on to 2024-7.
Isn't it nice that they're numbered?
It is. Okay, so I'm going to read through this complaint, just like I did before.
You have to read everything again, or can you just read the guts of it?
I'm gonna say who it's from, I'm gonna say who it's about,
Yeah.
okay? And what the alleged ethical violations are. So, was received 12/15/2024. The complainant is Jackie Pratt of Winter Road. The person she's filing a complaint against is Bruce Fillmore. Town office or position this person holds is the planning board. Applicable provisions of the Ethics Code, fairness 1 and 2, and honesty number 1. Please describe the specific conduct that is alleged to be a violation of the Ware Ethics Code. And I have an attachment, which I'm going to read into the record. 12/15/2024, Ware Ethics Code members. In the 12/12/24 Planning Board meeting, Mr. Fillmore stated that he is developing a new ordinance for commercial solar arrays for which he has used an undisclosed committee to develop. When questioned by other members of the planning board about the resource he used, he was very vague in his response and stated that this was not any member of the current planning board. There is no indication that the planning board consented to allowing the uses of sources outside the planning board to develop this ordinance. The town has a right to know the origin of the information used to develop an ordinance that will be used by the town when judging implementation of this kind of activity, and whether or not the individual or individuals providing the input have the ability to gain from it. Signed, Jackie Pratt, 12/15/2024. So we're going to walk back through our same process. So,
You should probably read this.
again,
Read
sorry. Please describe what actions you've taken to resolve the situation within Ware Town government before bringing it to the Ethics Committee. These might include, but are not limited to, bringing the matter of the complaint to the attention of the individual involved, bringing the matter of the complaint formally before the board or committee involved. If you're a town employee, bringing the matter of the complaint to the attention of your supervisor. The meeting just happened on 12/12/24. There was no time to address it since I was blindsided by watching the meeting and am trying to address it before it is a warrant and they don't meet again. I believe that the person listed above has violated the Ware Ethics Code and request that the Ethics Committee conduct an investigation on this matter. I hereby certify the facts set forth above are true and correct to the best of my knowledge and belief. I've read the Ware Ethics Code. I believe that this matter is a fair subject of inquiry for the Ethics Committee. I will cooperate with the Ethics Committee in its investigation of this matter and will appear at a hearing on this complaint if requested to do so. I have exhausted all other avenues to resolve this situation that are available within Ware Town government, dated 12/15/24, signed by Jackie Pratt. Okay, now we can move forward with our process.
Well, first, I guess we need to decide whether or not, in fact, what she describes is a violation of the code. As I read her complaint, Bruce was proposing an ordinance that was developed by someone else, or he did not indicate whether or not it was developed by somebody else, didn't state all of this information to the planning board. But I'm trying to understand how that would be, the fact that he didn't reveal this information or the planning board didn't ask for it. I'm trying to find out how that would be a violation of the code.
Do we have a copy of the Code of Ethics
Yeah.
that we can look at? I can pull it up on my phone if I can get, just because I want to look at the specifics of fairness, 1 and 2, and honesty. Carl, well, thank you. While you're heading through that,
You got another copy?
No, that's my only one.
but.
I've got to get that in my,
So, let's just do the easier ones. Is this person a member of our community? Yes, so it meets that standard. Was this within the time frame that we discuss? Yes, it meets that standard. Did the person avail themselves of all other opportunities to address it?
No,
Sure. Okay.
because she stated in her thing, I was blindsided by watching the meeting, and I'm trying to address it before there's a warrant and they don't meet again. So she hasn't addressed this.
So the warrant,
She watched it on TV, but didn't address the issue.
the warrants go to they get proposed to the board. I'm just trying to review this process in my head and then out loud. The warrants are proposed by the boards and committees, and they go to the Board of Selectmen for review. And I believe there's an opportunity at the Board of Selectmen level to speak to, and no? I'm hearing
planning
no.
board is different.
Planning board is, all right, so that's where I need the education on this.
Go direct
They
to
go
the warrant.
direct? Okay. And so when they go direct on the warrant, and I'm going to
There are a couple of public hearings.
there are a couple of public hearings and,
Right.
and town meeting, the deliberative session to
But
dis,
the warrant may
No?
not be amended at town meeting.
okay.
Only the planning board articles cannot be amended.
Which is why they're kind of,
we
we
never discussed.
roll right through those. Okay, all right. Is there a public hearing on the warrant articles at the planning board level?
Yes, the planning board will conduct 2 public hearings. After the first public hearing, they could change the proposed article. At the second public hearing, the only changes they can make are basically administrative,
And do those,
in January.
okay, so there will be 2 opportunities
Right.
to address,
This issue should be addressed at those hearings. Or this issue.
okay, so are we of the opinion that there is an opportunity to be able to address this issue at that level?
Yes.
Carl is a yes.
So what would she do? She would go before the board, and usually, there's no formal public hearing, but usually the chairman allows members of the public to address the board, and I'm sure Craig would allow her. And then she's going to say, what? That Bruce didn't reveal the source, that he has an ethical obligation to reveal the source. The planning board acted inappropriately because they didn't demand he produce the source. I'm trying to understand what it is that she would do there and what could she expect.
Sounds like an unknown variable.
Yes. And let's assume that the planning board says, yes, we want to find this out, and they ask Bruce, and Bruce tells them. That's the end of the complaint, because the complaint only alleges that apparently there is a right to know, the public has a right to know the sources from which a board member is developing a proposal. That seems to be the essence of her complaint. And she says it's unethical for them, for a proposal to be developed from sources which are not publicly revealed.
I'm going to read fairness
Thank you.
1 and 2 and honesty 1. Fairness 1 and 2. So fairness 1 is I promote consistency, equity, and non-discrimination in public agency decision-making, which I base on the merits of an issue, including facts, research, reasons, opinions, etc. Number 2 is I encourage diverse public engagement in our decision-making process and support the public's right to know. And then honesty number 1 is I am honest with all with whom I interact in my official capacity. I will disclose any matters that might present a conflict of interest and will recuse myself when appropriate. Recuse means to withdraw from discussion and voting. So,
Could you read that again?
sure.
Just one, the fairness.
Yep. Fairness or honesty?
The second one that you read.
Okay, honesty number 1.
Honesty, thank you.
I am honest with all with whom I interact in my official capacity. I will disclose any matters that might present a conflict of interest and will recuse myself when appropriate. Recuse means to withdraw from discussion and voting. So I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole on discussing the merits. I'm just trying to see if it meets the threshold for us to consider. And it sounds like we can put a check mark next to this is a town, this is a person who resides in town, this happened within the time frame that we will look at something. And where we're at is determining whether or not the complainant has availed herself of every opportunity to resolve this issue at that level prior to coming to us. That's the question at hand as far as I can tell.
But isn't, prior to those, isn't there a question of whether or not the actions alleged would, if proven, constitute a violation of the code?
It talks about, does this complaint fall within the jurisdiction?
Okay,
If yes, what is the specific area of ethics found within the Ware Code of Ethics that the complainant alleged has violated?
and I'm raising the question as to whether or not this complaint meets that standard. Forgetting about whether
Yep.
she's taken the actions,
Yep, looking,
trying to resolve it prior to coming to us.
yep,
The prior question is whether or not this is inappropriate or dishonest, is
You
that
wanna-
the right word?
What was
Behavior.
done that was unethical?
so she's stating,
Bruce
Was vague, and when questioned by other members of the planning board about the resource he used, Bruce, was very vague in his response and indicated it was not any member of the current planning board. And then, there's no indication that the planning board consented to allowing the use of sources outside of the planning board to develop this ordinance. I mean, if the planning board wants to use outside sources, isn't that up to the planning board? If the planning board wants to allow its members to use outside sources? Isn't that up to the planning board? If a member wants to use outside sources, I don't understand why this would be dishonest.
Yep.
Bruce has acknowledged he had outside sources. He didn't reveal who they were, but
And
I
they
don't
didn't
see
ask
how
for
that's dishonest.
Okay, so do you want to take them, do you want to take these, like whether or not it meets that standard? Do you want to go 1, 2, and then 1?
There is, if it doesn't meet the standard of violating some provision of the code,
Yep.
then it gets rejected.
Okay,
But if we're saying on the other issue that she hasn't done everything she could to resolve this before bringing us to it, then this would not be rejected. It would be deferred until such time as she's,
yes. And I hear that point. So I hear that, if I can encapsulate what you just said, Neil, let's look at the merits before even getting to whether or not, because the merits is more,
if the merits, if there are
Merits are
no merit
merits,
to this,
yep.
then the other issue is
Okay.
irrelevant.
okay. So do you want to go point by point on the issue, the ethical violations that and review them one by one? I read them in aggregate, but we can go one by one, saying yea or nay if you feel like,
Okay,
okay?
all right.
So I'm going to go back to fairness. And we're going to do these one at a time. I promote consistency, equity, and non-discrimination in public agency decision-making, which I base on the merits of an issue, including facts, research, reasons, opinions, etc. Does it appear to be a violation of that?
Not in my opinion,
Nope.
no.
Okay, so I got 2 no's. I encourage diverse public engagement in our decision-making process and support the public's right to know.
The right to know language is in RSA 91A, and it deals with many, many things, but I don't believe revealing where one received information is covered by that. Bruce might have had discussions with tens of people over 3 years and formed his opinion from that. He may have gone to an organization that sponsors solar panels and say, hey, I need some help in this, and gotten that information. I don't see that you violate the code by getting information from others and not disclosing that. I don't see that as a violation. I mean, if it were a violation, then the entire work product of an individual member of the planning board would be subject to scrutiny, and all of that information would be required to be revealed before any decision could be made. I mean, the mind boggles at the time-consuming process. We all get information from all sorts of sources, and I just don't see that it's unethical for a person to do that. Now, if Bruce were asked specifically, did you get this from this, and I'm making this up, the Solar Industry Association, and he said no, and in fact he did get it, that's a very different issue. But that's not the one that's raised here.
Carl, you have any discussion?
No additional discussion. I say it's not a fairness to,
Okay, so we have ruled out, and I agree with this, and I think we're unanimous that we don't believe it meets fairness, 1 or 2. I'm going to go to honesty. Honesty 1 says, I am honest with all with whom I interact in my official capacity. I will disclose any matters that might present a conflict of interest and recuse myself when appropriate. Recuse means to withdraw from discussion and voting. Do we believe that this is an issue of honesty?
he disclosed,
Would you read that again?
Sure. I am honest with all with whom I interact in my official capacity. I will disclose any matters that might present a conflict of interest and will recuse myself when appropriate. Recuse means to withdraw from discussion and voting.
And where's the conflict of interest here? In her other complaint, she talks about a
Yes.
conflict of interest, and you can see that that's at least colorable, but
I'm going to go back and read the attachment.
the addendum to her thing.
In the 12/12/24 planning meeting, Mr. Fillmore stated that he is developing a new ordinance for commercial solar arrays for which he has used an undisclosed committee to develop. When questioned by the other members of the planning board about the resource he used, he was very vague in his response and stated that was not a member,
I think
it was not any member of the current planning board. There is no indication that the planning board consented to allowing the use of sources outside the planning board to develop this ordinance. The town has a right to know the origin of the information used to develop an ordinance that will be used by the town when judging implementation of this kind of activity, and whether or not the individual or individuals providing the input have the ability to gain from it.
The town does not have a right to know the origin of information used to develop an ordinance, as I just indicated before. That would create an impossible situation. That the planning board, well, and that's separate from the issue about whether or not Mr. Fillmore, Bruce would have, what is it?
I am honest, yep,
To gain from it.
yep,
What he gains from is not the information as to who helped him develop the ordinance. What he gains from, or not, is the ordinance when it goes into effect. If Bruce were a solar panel installer, and I have no idea whether he is, and this ordinance would require everyone in town to put in solar panels, then there's clearly a conflict. But if this is just an ordinance which anyone can take advantage of, I don't see that the source of the ordinance, the information source, is a violation of the code.
I said the ordinance is for commercial solar arrays, not residential, right? This is for businesses. Correct?
Yes, that's what it says.
Any other discussion on whether or not it meets the honesty?
I don't see any honesty thing.
Okay.
I don't.
All right, so I'm going to put it, based on this discussion, I'm going to ask if you want to move it to the decision point on whether or not it's a violation of Fairness 1 and 2 and Honesty 1.
I'm just trying to see what's unethical. I'm trying to read it over and over, and I'm not seeing anything that says, whoa. That somebody's taking advantage of a situation. I just don't see it.
By not providing the source content.
I just don't see.
That's really what this boils down to.
what it-
If the allegation had been that Mr. Fillmore is in the business of installing commercial solar arrays, and therefore it's a conflict of interest for him to propose an ordinance, whatever the ordinance might be,
Then, yeah,
that could be a different question,
there'd be a conflict.
conceivably, probably not, but conceivably. But that's not the issue that she's raising here. She's talking strictly about information.
Yeah,
source-
information sources.
Right.
So we're not finding that there is a violation of Fairness 1 and 2 and Honesty 1, based on this discussion.
Correct.
Okay. And so we're rejecting this complaint based on that it doesn't meet that threshold?
Correct.
Okay.
And we haven't gotten to the issue.
We haven't even gotten there. Do you want to,
No.
or we don't even really need to, based on?
We don't.
Okay. All right, so Carl, 2024-7, the Ethics Committee is rejecting
We'll
based
take a
on
vote
not
rejection.
meeting. We can take it to, I'll entertain a motion, we could take it to vote. All those in favor of rejecting 2024-7 based on not meeting the threshold of a violation of Fairness 1 and 2 and Honesty 1, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so it's unanimous. Rejecting 2024-7. And Carl, you'll indicate that in correspondence to
Right.
Ms. Pratt? Okay. Okay. I said that we were going to go back to 2024, No, 2024,
4 or 5. Must be 5. No,
2024, 3.
3.
And I want to,
Right.
I'm not going to, the content is regarding, and I'm trying to think about how to best say this, because this might be something that we would go into non-public for anyway. However, I don't even think that's necessary, because I believe that I need to recuse myself when I read the attachment to 2024-3. I believe I need to recuse myself, because I am mentioned several times in the body of this,
Oh, the attachment part?
Yes.
Yeah.
and so,
This is what you're talking about?
yes.
This long thing here.
And so because I am mentioned
Wait
throughout,
a minute, are you mentioned in a significant way, or?
yes,
That time remains. Yeah,
Yeah, 1,
and so
3.
I believe that this will need to be tabled until we have a quorum that does not include me. Because I believe that it is too attached to 2024-4. Those two kind of walk hand in hand, and I would not be comfortable.
I agree.
agreed.
So I'm going to recuse myself from 2024-3.
We'll look at this. We'll
So
table
the
this for
motion is,
later. Motion to table this?
yeah, I move that we table this item until we have a quorum excluding, which does not include Eileen.
Second?
And I abstain.
Okay. All in favor?
That's it.
She's the chairman. You
He's
still
do-
conducting.
He's doing a wonderful job.
Yeah, I'm sitting in the
So,
middle now.
yes, he is.
In the middle.
Okay, so that is all of the new correspondence.
Right.
And then I wanted to discuss in old business.
Full business, yeah.
There was a letter that came in at our last meeting that had several questions in it, that at that meeting, in our minutes, it reflects that I said I would go and do some homework and review the content of that communication and come back in and weigh in on several of those answers.
Well, there were 4 bullet points.
Yep. And based on the fact that the body of that letter is then put into complaints 2024-3 and 2024-4, it would be inappropriate for me to weigh in at this juncture. And so I'm going to refrain from a discussion about that correspondence and include it to be a part of any discussion that has to do with those complaints.
Why?
Because what had happened that evening, and I'm not sure that you're fully aware, because I know that you don't have access to the email. There was a complaint that was, we each received correspondence that evening. And that correspondence was that communication,
Which,
was the letter written by Ms. Pratt to the committee about,
it's attached to which of the complaints?
it's
It's not,
not formally. However, that evening, in a subsequent envelope, there was a complaint. We did not know it, we did not have it, and then at the end of the meeting, Ms. Pratt indicated to us that she had also, in addition to sending the letters, submitted a complaint at the same time. And so the content and the scope of the correspondence that she sent was the same information as was contained in the complaint. And so I'm not comfortable weighing in because the body of that content is also related to those complaints. And so I will stand down until you have a quorum and can review those complaints in detail.
Okay, is it possible for me to get a copy of this correspondence?
You have a copy of the correspondence?
This is the, she gave us each an envelope. We all got an envelope.
You were
like this.
provided that,
I know that. Show me the.
This is the letter that she had in it.
yes,
Oh, yeah, I got that right here.
yes. Which is the same as 2024-3 and 2024-4. Okay. Additionally, in old business, I think we now move to 2024-1 and 2024-2, and discussion of a pre-hearing conference to be scheduled.
I want to add, read into the record for 2024-1. I think I sent the thing out to the committee that we had received a letter from David Pratt regarding that complaint.
You want me to read it in? Or do you want to read it in?
I'll let you read it into
Okay.
the record, but this is what he had replied to, I can't remember. if
This is
Wendy was-
in relationship to
can't remember
20,
if Wendy chair,
Okay.
Wendy was the chair or Luke was the chair, but he sent, no, actually, he sent that to Luke, because
Okay.
Luke responded on the second page,
so this is this is regarding 2024-1.
-1.
Okay. And this was this was sent to then Chair Wendy Curry, who forwarded it to,
I think Luke received it. If you look at the reply, the
oh,
second
okay,
page-
so it was sent to then Chair Luke Drake.
Luke Drake.
Okay, all right.
In 2024-1 was a complaint by Bruce Fillmore against David Pratt
Correct.
Yes,
for voting for zoning and for zoning board membership, knowing that he had a case coming before the ZBA. That's the complaint.
that's the body of the complaint, yep. And we had already walked through, just by way of review, we had already walked through our process of accepting the complaint. There had been, this was the first complaint, then there was 2024-2, but I'm going to focus on 2024-1 at this moment. So 2024-1, this correspondence was also received, but it has not yet, to my knowledge, been read into the record.
It has not.
Okay.
Before you read that, what is the status of 2024-1?
It's pending scheduling.
We need to do a.
We accepted
pre-hear-
it.
Yeah,
Yes, we accepted it.
And we need to do pre-hearing.
Pre-hearing conference.
Does anyone know the date that we, for some reason, I don't have it on here, the date that we accepted it?
It's reflected in the minutes.
Okay.
Would have been, let's see, I was heading out in September. Was it in September that you accepted it?
I'd have to go back
Yeah,
and look.
okay,
I did the voice,
Yep.
the
Yep.
voice call at the time.
okay.
All right, so this correspondence is dated Wednesday, August 28th, 2024. Board members, I'm writing this email for myself, and this is not representative of the entire board. I have watched the 2 meetings in which there was discussion on a complaint issued against my selectman position. In the 7/18/24 meeting, there was a question raised as to whether or not the complainant had addressed the context of the allegation with the person with whom the complaint was filed. Rather than go back to the complainant, Member Eileen Meany uses hearsay information and foggy memory in an attempt to convince the board that an attempt to have a dialogue regarding the situation was done during a prior Board of Selectmen meeting at a public comment session. She then led the town administrator to confirm, to which TA reviewed minutes to find that Mr. Fillmore did in fact address the board on 5/20/24, stating that the board handled an appointment unprofessionally and unfathomably. Neither of those comments relate to the complaint filed. In the August 15th meeting, it was stated that Mr. Fillmore stated that addressing the board members would do no good or the statements would fall on deaf ears, not that he had approached them. That, along with the discussion on 7/18/24, seems to be enough to move this complaint to a formal status. In my opinion, the application guidelines were not followed and the application was improperly accepted because the person who filed the complaint did not try to resolve the issue beforehand. This case should be disqualified. Thank you, David Pratt. Luke Drake responded to Mr. Pratt on Thursday, September 26, 2024. He writes, Mr. Pratt, thank you for reaching out. I apologize for the delay in response, but this email came to us between having an elected committee chair. While I appreciate you sharing your opinion on the Ethics Committee work, I cannot agree with your premise that the relevant complaint should be disqualified or that the guidelines were not followed by the complainant. Rather, it is my firm belief that the committee is working as prescribed through our internal processes towards a fair public hearing involving all parties regarding the concerns raised by this citizen. It is my hope and expectation that we can all work through this process in a fair, efficient, and professional manner. Luke Drake, Ware Ethics Committee Chair.
Thank you.
So that will be attached to tonight's minutes, and will also become part of the body of
Part of the
2024-1.
-1. I'll send you a copy of this. Thank you.
And so our next step in terms of our process would be to schedule a pre-hearing conference with Mr. Fillmore.
Right. And I had sent a letter to Bruce, letting him know about our status of the board and wanting to make sure we had 3 members, one that, you know, you might have to recuse yourself because of some of the conversation statements that were made, you know, and once we get our board back to 5, then we can proceed with the hearing. So we at least have 3 members to do business, you know.
Are you going to recuse yourself?
I actually wasn't planning on recusing myself.
Okay.
I don't really see a,
Or if you,
if I believed that I needed to, I would. But I don't see a need.
I think I put in the thing that you might
Yeah.
not be part of the board.
Oh, it might be that,
And we need 3 members to be present
for the hearing.
for the hearing.
But this is the pre-hearing conference that we're attempting to schedule at this point, which is just about, the nuts and bolts. If there'll be any witnesses called, if there's anything, that we should know, we should, be including for, purposes of moving this forward. We'll also need to reach out to Selectman Pratt and offer the same opportunity for him to come in and provide us with information about how many witnesses he may want called or any other information that he might find important for our hearing process.
So on the pre-hearing, we just need 2 members,
Yep.
and it's actually just scheduling a date.
Mm-hmm.
No, we schedule a date now, but at the meeting, only 2 members of the board need to be there.
Yes.
Okay,
It's not a full meeting.
okay, so it's like a
Subcommittee, yep.
Yes. So let's discuss let's discuss how that might happen. I can tell you that for purposes of efficiency, I'm out of town from 12/26 through 1/3. I'm not sure if we're talking about doing a pre-hearing conference in the next week or two, if we want to push past the holiday. I do think it's important. I know Mr. Fillmore's been waiting some time to have this heard, and so I would like to be able to offer him the opportunity to move this along.
So, that pretty much leaves us Friday.
As in
and then
tomorrow?
Monday, Tuesday.
Yep, of next week.
Well, we can talk to Bruce and see what day works for him.
Okay. Will you coordinate that? And then get some dates and times, and then we can,
Can we do it right now, since he's in the
Do it right
room?
now?
we sure can if we want to do that. So Mr. Fillmore happens to be here if you want to come to the podium with the express purpose of scheduling.
All right.
So, Mr. Fillmore,
Tomorrow's no good.
Tomorrow work?
Tomorrow, Friday is no good. But either Monday or Tuesday is fine.
Monday or Tuesday? Okay, I'm retired, so I can meet with you anytime on Monday, morning or afternoon, whatever works for you.
My workday is very busy, so sometime like after 4 would be great.
After 4?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'll send you email through our correspondence that we've had with
Sure.
the Ethics Committee, and then, do we meet here? Or,
Yeah, it's just Tuesday's Christmas Eve, so I don't think you want to do Tuesday.
so we'll just meet
Monday,
Talking Monday.
Monday
Monday.
after,
after 4
After
o'clock?
4.
Okay, we have a board meeting, I don't know how long you're gonna be.
What time's that's later in the evening,
Start
right?
at 6:30.
Yeah, we're looking around 4 o'clock.
Okay.
You just let me know, just let me know what time it works and I'll be
We'll just
here.
plan on 4.
Okay, we'll do 4 o'clock.
so Monday, 12/23, 4 PM,
Yep.
Ware Town offices. We know Carl is one of the members that will attend.
Just need one other.
Okay.
Thank you, Neil.
Neil.
I'm gonna be in Manchester, I don't know if I'll
Then
be able to make it back in time.
And then I'll send out a pre-hearing notification to.
Mr. Pratt?
Board of Selectmen Pratt.
Yes.
For 2024-1,
yes,
okay?
yes, sir,
Just
To schedule the meeting.
to schedule a pre-hearing conference, yeah,
Well, the pre-hearing.
yes.
I get the response from Mr. Dahlstrom, and I just replied back to him that I would appreciate, when it comes to the hearing, everything, if the whole board was seated too. Is not, I mean, if you feel you have to recruit yourself, that's one thing, but I mean, to have a full board, not just 3.
Yeah.
Oh.
When we have the official hearing,
Yeah,
That definitely will take place when we have more members.
yeah.
Yeah.
A minimum of 3 to do that official hearing.
right, but I'd like to see a full board though, I mean,
Yes.
as opposed to,
I
Yeah.
think just in terms of practicality, it will be that way, looking at, we have your pre-hearing conference, which we know is going to be the 23rd. We have to schedule a pre-hearing conference with the other person, and then we're into January anyway. And so we're looking at,
We should be a full board in
Okay.
January. It looks like we got 3 candidates,
For 2 slots.
2 slots, so we should be good.
great, that was it.
Of course, you could
Thank you,
reject
Mr.
all
Fillmore.
3.
Yeah, thank you.
okay, so we've scheduled a pre-hearing conference for Mr. Fillmore.
Do we have a procedure as to what we're supposed to accomplish with this, something that we've written down at the pre-hearing?
I believe it's written,
It's in your process document.
Yes.
It talks about what
Yep.
takes place in the pre-hearing,
Yep,
yes,
and then,
that's all online.
yeah.
yes.
I got it.
And you have it in your notes to reach out to Selectman Pratt
Correct.
for scheduling. So that's old business.
And then, new business,
Wait a second, what about 2?
We are not,
2, we should be
20.
able to go, because, Mr. Fillmore did address remember, I was
Mm-hmm.
waiting for him to address the board so we could proceed with, Number 2.
let's go to, can I see a copy of that one? I don't have it in front of me. Did we already accept 2024-2?
If it's not written down here, the answer, well, I don't have a record that we did, and I've tried to keep records of that. I thought, I don't remember.
I'd have to review the.
Without facts and evidence, I
I
think we
would
should
have
wait
to
on that one.
review the September.
Mhm.
Actually, it would have been October, when, we didn't meet in October,
No.
because in September I had the question.
And I believe 2024-2 was zoning board of adjustment.
And there was 3 selectmen on that one.
But I'm trying to remember the details, and I think it's in all of our best interest to wait on a vote on that one until our next meeting. So can we table that one, because I'd like to go back and review it?
Yeah. But one, we can definitely continue.
One, we're
One, we're
in
good.
process. Two, I'd like to go back and look at the
Let's
details.
take a look at, I'll look at the past minutes too and see what it said on two.
Okay,
I
All
know
right.
we had discussion,
yeah, so we'll table that one till January 16.
okay?
So we have, do we know that in fact we have accepted this or not?
We don't know if we've accepted it. And I'd like to look at the details of the actual event
Well,
to see who the parties involved were for selection to the ZBA. I may have to recuse myself, Neil.
the person involved was Travis Corcoran.
I know that that's the person selected, but I don't know who all the other members who were in play were. And I want to make sure that I'm not married to one of them before I make decisions on it. So I'm attempting to make sure that I'm acting as appropriately as I possibly can here.
Okay.
So I want to go back and look to make sure whether or not I should even be weighing in on this one.
So for the January
Even to
meeting,
determine whether we accept it or not.
Yes,
Got it.
so on the agenda for the January meeting, we're gonna put 2024-2 review on there?
yes.
Okay.
So just because I can't remember it, I'm not ready to move forward. Okay. So with that,
Let's see, so the next part was vote for board positions.
well, and that got,
That's gonna be pushed to.
That's January
table till
16th.
January.
yep,
2025. And you're up to adjournment.
do we have any other new business?
Any other new business?
What's the meeting date in January?
1/16/24.
16.
Neil, any new business? Okay, seeing none, I call this meeting to close. It is 8 p.m. And with that, have a happy holiday, have a safe and prosperous new year.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
healthy.
And healthy.
Healthy, yes.
Healthy.
More important than prosperous.
Yes, indeed.
Almost as important as
Almost
safe.
as important.